Currently, I'm at Laurier for a grad diploma in accounting, which is like a 4 month just graduate program essentially, but it's not a full master's. But for 5 years, I was at Waterloo for math and Laurier for business. I would say yes, I did always know, just because kind of the career paths that I had looked into just always seemed to be kind of towards that route. Like, I'm not a particularly like hands-on tinker with it and fix it kind of a person. I've always been more like I'd rather just like do the theoretical learning type stuff, which lends itself more so to university or college, which I guess I could have built myself up the other way, but honestly, I think like both my parents went to university. That was just always kind of the path that I was thinking of going. Big is the answer. I feel like in high school, you kind of know everybody. Like, you know everybody, you're in like 30-person classes. Whereas first year university, the biggest classes that I was in were like 800 people. So there's no chance that you're gonna know everybody. I know that was the face that I made when I walked into the lecture hall the first time. There's no way you're gonna know everybody in your class. So I think in terms of meeting people, it's a lot harder because you're not with the same people every single day for the entire year. So you kind of have to go out of your way in order to make those conversations within classes. And then workload wise, you're in class for a lot less time out of the week, but the outside of class commitment is a lot larger because, I mean, in high school, you'll have like a work period, whereas university, you never really get that. It's just lecturing for, an hour, hour and a half, 3 hours, whatever it is. And then outside of work is where you're expected to do all your assignments. So just kind of a mental flip on like your time allocation, I guess. It's also structured differently, whereas high school, you're like 8 until 2 every single day or 8 until 2:30. Whereas university, you can be bouncing all over. So you can have classes from 8:30 until 10 at night. So it's just different. Yeah, so I was in the math and business double degree program. So a bachelor of math through UW and then a bachelor of business administration through Laurier. And then I did a stats minor on the math side and an accounting concentration and an economics minor on the business side. Two things. I enjoyed math when I was in high school. I found it came very naturally to me. And I think my brain also thinks in like A to B to C kind of like logical order. So the math, quote unquote, came easily. Obviously it doesn't anymore because it's university math and it's not going to. But I just found that math, I could understand it well. So that was where the math side kind of came into it. And then the business side, I feel like business, any job that you're going to work for ever in your entire life is going to involve a business in some form or another. Like whether it's government or private sector or whatever you're doing, starting your own, even like medical practice, you're still working within a business. So I wanted to have that business knowledge to be able to apply it to any job that I had moving forward. I think it kind of changed after I started my first co-op term. So the program that I took is very structured throughout first and second, and like even halfway through third year where you really don't get any electives. So really in third year is once we started being able to have like math electives and business electives. And then for the math electives, I focused mainly on the stat side, just because I found that in those first few years, I didn't really love the like theoretical type of math that was just kind of like abstract and difficult to wrap my head around. I liked seeing how it could actually apply to the real world, which is where I found that stats came into play. So I took a lot of stats courses for my math electives. And then my co-op terms just kind of ended up being in accounting as the first one, and then it ended up just staying that way. So once I kind of had that down, like, oh, this is work that I actually enjoy, that's when it kind of went into the accounting courses on the business elective side. And then the 4 free choice electives that I had, I thought, why not tack an econ minor into the mix? And then I just started taking economics courses. But if you find that is something that you enjoy, and you really like getting into those nitty-gritty problems, and you have a knack for business and you want to hone your presentation skills and learn more about how the business world works, absolutely I would recommend it. I think it gives you an edge up over people that are in just like a single degree program. So an example for that is when I went into co-op for the first time, they were talking about employment rates, and they had employment rates for like different degrees up on the screens. And this was like a double degree co-op session, and they essentially told us like, we don't even have stats for the employment levels of double degrees because it's so high that it really doesn't matter. Like it's essentially 100% anyway for co-op terms. So like they didn't even show the stats. So it gives you that edge up that employers find valuable, because if you're going into a business job, employers will wonder like, do you have the math side figured out? Oh, you have a Bachelor of Math. Yeah, you probably have the math side figured out, and kind of vice versa. It just gives you the people skills and the technical skills. So yeah, if you're interested in learning about both of those things, then yes, I would absolutely recommend it. Yeah, so the grad diploma that I'm in is for accounting. So it basically lets me bypass part of the accounting designation program. So from my co-op terms, I basically lined up a full-time job in September where I'll be going into public accounting. Is basically the plan right now. Oh, big one is to find study groups, like find people to do your homework with, because it can get really isolating. I learned this during COVID, especially when we were, all online. I'm sure you guys learned the same thing, but I did my second and third years online, and it was really isolating just to be completely by yourself doing like this complex work. And any program that you're in is going to become complicated at some point. So having people there to kind of figure it out with you is really helpful. And it almost creates like, not a trauma bond, but like a bond over the difficult material that you're learning, I guess. And they can kind of help explain things to you, and you can help explain things to them, and vice versa. So study groups is a big one. In first year, don't be afraid to reach out and make friends with people and like actually talk to people. That was something that I really struggled with, and I think it would have been helpful to do that more, just because, like I said, in high school you're kind of with the same 30 to 50 people, whatever it is, all the time. So it's really easy to just kind of like form those conversations, whereas in university there's nobody forcing you to talk to anybody, so you have to really go out of the way to do it by yourself. And then again, if you don't, it is kind of isolating.